just now in the announcements. And I'd like you to listen closely to her next remarks and to see if you hear yourself anywhere in what Sarah has to say.
Okay, part 2. You ready? Everyone's awake? Okay. So as many of you know, I have had the pleasure of working very closely with a broad interfaith collaborative effort in support of Rosa Robles Loreto, who took sanctuary at Southside Presbyterian Church earlier this month. And many of you I recognize from those efforts, and it's really great to be here with you today. And it's really worth asking ourselves, why sanctuary? Why now, and why Rosa? This longtime member of our community is threatened with being separated from her spouse and her 2 boys, from her home and from the community that she helped to build. Rosa, like so many others, was placed in removal proceedings following a traffic stop by local police. That traffic stop didn't turn into a ticket, but it did turn into Border Patrol being called. She was held in detention for 53 days. Her youngest son was 4. 53 days is an eternity when you're 4 years old. She finally came home. She started to fight her case, and ultimately to no avail. Rosa, like so many working class people, is a victim of SB 1070 and of a cruel and antiquated immigration system that provides no formal channel that would allow Rosa to normalize her status. Those who claim that immigrants like Rosa should have followed the rules and waited in line fail to comprehend that despite having built her life and raised her family here, there is not any line for someone like Rosa to enter. Her best hope was that the Obama administration would follow its own standards and recognize Rosa as a low priority for deportation and to stop her removal. So far, this hasn't happened, but it's going to. And Rosa has, at this point, been ordered to be deported. So many people tell me that the only thing that the right and the left in this country agree on in regard to immigration is that the system isn't working. That our immigration system is broken and it needs an overhaul. Because of how misguided our immigration policies and practices are, Rosa recently reached a terminus where only 3 options existed for her. One was to turn herself over to immigration authorities and be deported and separated from her family. The second was to try and go deeper into the shadows, knowing that at any time she could be pulled over, that Border Patrol would be called, and that when they ran her information, they would see she had a formal order of removal, and she would be sent to Sonora, Mexico within 12 hours with no opportunity for a hearing, and with her family having no idea what had happened to her. The third option was to take sanctuary and to have faith that a broad community would come together to protect her and to declare not one more. Not one more deportation, not one more person like Rosa cruelly taken from her husband and children, not one more family torn apart. This, of course, requires more than simply opening up a space at the church for Rosa and her family to sleep. It means embracing her family and her existing community and creating bridges within the space of the church itself to nurture and build new relationships. It means acting on our collective responsibility to do justice and believing in our collective strength, especially at those times when Rosa and her husband and her sons feel uncertain and vulnerable. When despair creeps into the edges of our hearts. Above all, it means committing to not ever giving up. Let me say that again. Above all, it means committing to never giving up. To declaring that as long as Rosa is fighting for her future and her family, that our communities will be standing right there beside her until justice is done for Rosa and for all the families like hers. We will be there, and we will keep fighting. I tell you all of this not to scare you, but rather so that you know that this is a deeply transformative process. Rosa is very aware that she is becoming a spokesperson for the tens of thousands of others who are in similar situations. Being in front of news cameras and on television makes her nervous. But she understands the stakes involved, both for her family and for the thousands of other families who are presently in limbo. Because so many individuals of conscience and communities of faith understand the stakes involved, we must remain committed to support her, to show up and to visit with her family, to bear witness and to share their story, to contact our elected officials, to show up at the county supervisors meeting on Tuesday, and to demand that the government take action on her behalf and on behalf of many others just like her. There will be more families like Rosa's taking sanctuary until the callous sweep of mass deportation has ended. So count on it. It's coming. It's going to happen. It could be you next. And I know that countless faith communities are asking really tough questions about their capacities, their commitments, and their own power to intervene to keep families and communities from being ripped apart. It's not easy, but nothing that was ever accomplished through collective struggle has ever been easy. In fact, it may only be that when we push beyond our own comfort zone and embrace those principles that demand that we do justice, that we can ever fully realize a transformative power. Sometimes those moments are brief, sometimes they hold on for quite a while, but it's a constant cycle that we come back to again and again and again. Through the legal clinic that I help run, I've seen over 100 local residents successfully stop their deportations. I've witnessed the development of amazing new relationships and knowledge. I've seen the surprise when my neighbors in deportation proceedings realize that not only can they fight to stay in their community, but that they have the power to win. And that in the process, they weave new bonds of friendship and community. And when we are, and more importantly, we all become better for it through that experience. Rosa is now the second individual in Tucson who has taken sanctuary this summer. And through our efforts to stop deportations, I've seen lives radically transformed, including my own. As well as countless others who have helped in some way through that process. These moments where we are able to come together, whether it's immigration or one of the many other challenges and injustices that are impacting our community, these relationships and the process of working together is very, very powerful, and it's part of understanding and enacting our collective power. This congregation has been part of an amazing effort that's happening right now in support of Rosa, where new relationships are being built, new strengths and skills are being developed. I thank you for that involvement, and I ask that you continue walking with us and deepen your commitment as this movement in Tucson strengthens and grows. Thank you so much.